This is Chapter 3, Lesson 2, Subtract Integers. So, when I subtract integers, to subtract an integer, add its additive inverse. So, in symbols, p minus q equals p plus a negative q. So, for example, 4 minus 9 is 4 plus negative 9, which gives me negative 5. Remember, they're enemies, so I subtract them. 9 is bigger, 9 wins, so it's negative. And then 7 minus a negative 10 equals 7 plus 10. Two negatives right next to each other make that a positive, so 7 plus 10 is 17. Alright, so let's look at a couple of examples. The first example I have says find 8 minus 13. Well, I can rewrite 8 minus 13 as 8 plus negative 13, because it's the additive inverse of it. 8 and negative 13 is something we've seen before. We saw it last lesson. So these are enemies. I subtract them. 13 minus 8 is 5. 13's bigger. 13's negative. 13 wins. So my answer is negative. Negative 5. Okay? Then I have negative 10 minus a negative 7. So this, two negatives right next to each other become a positive. Negative 10 plus 7. Again, they're enemies still because they're different signs. 10 minus 7 is 3. 10's bigger, 10 wins, 10's negative. So my answer is negative, negative 3. Find 1 minus negative 2. Again, two negatives right next to each other make a positive. So you see there's a minus and a negative. Minus signs and negative signs are the same thing. They mean the exact same thing. You're taking away something, okay? So 1 minus negative 2 becomes 1 plus 2. Well, 1 plus 2 is 3. They're the same sign, so it doesn't matter. Next, I have evaluate x minus y if x equals negative 6 and y equals negative 5. So I substitute in each of my values. X minus y becomes negative 6 minus negative 5. Notice I use parentheses. Okay, very important. Two negatives right next to each other make a positive. Negative 6 plus 5. They're enemies. Subtract them. 6 minus 5 is 1. 6 is bigger. 6 wins. 6 is negative. So my answer is negative 1. Alright, there are a couple of try problems out below. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, try them out, and when you're done, we'll go over the answers together. Alright, now that you've had a chance to try out the try-out problems, let's go over the answers together. So, the first one I have is find 6 minus 12. Okay. So 6 minus 12 I can rewrite as 6 plus a negative 12. So 6 and 12, 12 is negative, so they're different signs, so I subtract. 12 minus 6 is 6. 12 is bigger, 12 wins, 12 is negative, so my answer is negative 6. Then I have find negative 20 minus 15, so I can rewrite this as negative 20 plus a negative 15. Okay. They have the same sign now, so I add them together. 20 plus 15 is 35. And they're both negative, so my answer is negative. Then I have my ones on the far right side. 4 minus negative 12. Minus negative 12, I can rewrite. They're right next to each other, so it's positive. 4 plus 12, well, they're both positive, so I add them together. 4 plus 12 is 16. Okay, then I have negative 15 minus a negative 5. Again, two negatives right next to each other become a positive. So negative 15 plus 5. Different signs, which means they're enemies. I subtract them. 15 minus 5 is 10. 15's bigger. 15 wins, so my answer is negative. Negative 10. The Then the ones in the middle, evaluate each expression if A equals 5, B equals negative 8, C equals negative 9. So the first one I have is B minus 10. Well, I know B equals negative 8, so I substitute that in. I have negative 8 minus 10, which I can rewrite as negative 8 plus a negative 10. Same sign, so I add them. 8 plus 10 is 18. Both are negative, so it's negative 18. Then I have C minus A, where C is negative 9 and A is 5. So I can rewrite this as negative 9 minus 5, which I can rewrite as negative 9 plus a negative 5. Both are negative, so they're same sign, so I add them together. 9 plus 5 is 14. Both negative, so my answer is negative. And that is the end of lesson 3.